You're ready to go, Sandy. Okay, well, I am going to say welcome, and I am going to turn it right over to Megan Welter
All right.
to do a welcome for everyone.
I have the easiest job there is on this call today. I just really wanted to stop in and welcome everyone. This is a welcome call for our cohort 3 and cohort 4 schools. We really are so excited about this transition. We do believe that this is the most important work in terms of making some of the biggest differences for the lives of our students, not just immediately, but in the long run, as so many of them will be able to have services and make gains early intervention. So during the earliest times in their educational career. So we're really excited to have you join us. There's so much to learn, and we have a tremendous team who is here to help. We really want to make sure that we are available to you with our cohort 3, and Sandy's going to tell you a little bit more about this. Cohort 3, we're expecting around 90 SAUs to be joining us, which is by far our largest cohort, and will get us well on our way to, or well, more than half of our SAUs will be on board by next year. So it's a very big lift, and there's some learning to do, but we can all do that together. But again, we're thrilled to have you here. And as a representative of the Department of Education, we just want to be clear that we are here to continue to support this work, this really vital and important work. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to my colleague, Sandy Flack.
Thank you, Megan. First of all, I just want to echo what Megan just said. I want to welcome everyone from cohorts 3 and 4 to this meeting. It is being recorded. We know that we put this together in a very quick time frame after our date of commitment, and we wanted to squeeze it in before February vacation, and the month of February was out the door, as we know that happens with the month of February. So we appreciate you all making time to be here. It is recorded, so if you have colleagues that are missing it today, we will have it posted on our website. And in addition, you've all been invited to the 3 o'clock cohort meeting, which traditionally has been professional development for cohorts 1 and 2. And we are opening that up to everyone now. All cohorts will be welcome to that, and we'll talk a little bit more about the format of those meetings at the 3 o'clock meeting. But we wanted to spend a little bit of time today introducing cohorts 3 and 4 to our team here at the department and CDS, who really have been the backbone of building this early childhood special education transition. And they will be familiar faces to you by the end of this transition and hopefully into the future. So I just wanted to take a minute and show you the transition leads here. As Megan shared, Megan's really our leader here, as well as Aaron Frazier. I'm here supporting as well. And then probably the glue that holds us all together are Holly Green, who is our executive assistant, and Jennifer Hopkins, who is our project manager, who really keeps us organized and is our task manager as well through this transition. The other people that we have on our team that have been a huge support are our early childhood special education consultants. Many of you already know Lou Collins, and Lou, if you want to come off mic and just say hello so everybody can see your face. Lou has been helping us with our parent advisory committees that we were required to, and yet we want to engage parents in this transition. And Lou, I'll let you say hi.
I'm just glad to see so many people here. It looks like 116. I really appreciate the picture you put up of me 20 years ago. I like that beard. It's nice and dark. I think this is such an exciting time. This is a change that we have been searching for the last 20 years in legislation, and Megan and her team got it through 2 years ago, and I can't thank them enough. And we look forward to moving forward with each and every one of you. Thanks.
We also have Susie Perry. And Susie, I don't know if you want to, if you're here, if you could come off mic and say hello so everyone can see your face. Susie is a former early childhood special education director from the state of Arizona. That is where she joins us from. And she brings with us a wealth of knowledge and understanding about early childhood special education and how that operates at the state level as well as at the district level, and really has brought to our team a greater understanding of where we need to be and helping us along with all of the technical assistance and professional development that will support you as well. And Susie, are you here today? I can't see everyone, but maybe not. You will meet her at the next meeting though. And then we also have Julie Giacconi, who is another one of our early childhood special education consultants. She comes to us from the state of Connecticut, but she has recently moved to Maine. And Julie brings with her a career of understanding Part C and Part B, as well as support and service hubs, itinerant service models. So she is bringing to us another area of understanding that we can help support you with. And then the other layer of support that we are building is our early childhood special education coordinators. And the way that we did that in the last few years is we have been assigning these coordinators to regions, which we will share with you through an email. We didn't want to get into it too much today, but you will have a coordinator assigned to your school district. They will be your main point of contact moving forward, as well as myself and the team, but they're really going to be your go-to person. And we have Jackie Hersom. She's an early childhood special education coordinator. We have Trisha Kurt, Jennifer Austin, and Aaron Patton Wood. And just a little note that Jen and Aaron are kind of doing double duty right now. They are still working under CDS as program managers and really coming on board with learning about the transition and how to support school districts. And next we're going to introduce our team at Child Development Services, because they are our partners in this transition. As you all know, we are moving Part B 619 from Child Development Services to the school districts. But also through this transition, we are working with CDS to stand up the support and service hub model that is outlined in the law. And so I would like to introduce Dan Hemdall, our state director, and he is going to introduce his team.
Thanks, Sandy. Thank you all so much for joining this afternoon. I'm assuming that some of these faces are very familiar, since these are our CDS leadership. This is our CDS leadership team. As Sandy mentioned, I'm Dan Hemdall. I'm the state director for CDS. We have Heather Henderson, who's the director of preschool programs, and I think you're going to learn a little bit more about what she can do and what her team can do at the 3 o'clock meeting. We have Lori Whittemore, who's the director of preschool development, and I believe if you are in this meeting, you've probably been working with her a lot already. Ariana Whiting's our Part C director for early intervention for Maine. And the remaining faces on the screen are our site directors all throughout the state. So we have Amy Bragg, who oversees Two Rivers and Down East. We have Becky Gilman, who's out in Aroostook. Stacy Mitchell, who has First Step in Opportunities. Gail Page, who's at Midcoast. Pam Scribner, who's down in York. Tammy Veralt, who is at Reach. And Angie Wing is in Pete's. And I believe I am passing it off to the early learning team.
Yes. So one thing I want to just say about the CDS team, I'll go back to them. Um, as we are taking on board in cohort 3, 90 school districts. You have to remember we started out with 17. This year we have 34. And so we're tripling that number or doubling that number to 90, add 90 more. We are knowing that all of those children that you are going to be working with will be coming off the roles of CDS, which will allow them to really dig in and build up their support and service hub so that they are ready to support you with any services that you may need moving into the future. So I just wanted to add that these will be your CDS site directors will be your main contact when you are working with them if you do have a need. And we'll talk a little bit about that at our 3 o'clock meeting as well. So I'll shift now. We wanted to share with everyone that this is not just, the special services department at the Maine Department of Education or CDS. We have a whole team behind the scenes that have been working diligently to build up the systems, and you will be working with them as well. And so we wanted to recognize them and introduce you to them. Some of them you may already know, but we wanted to include our general education partners in this transition. And I will turn it over to Leanne Larson, who is the Director of Early Learning, so that she can introduce her team and share a little bit about what each of them do that you may be interacting with them.
Thanks, Sandy, and welcome everyone. It's so exciting to have you all here today. I'm Leanne Larson, and as Sandy said, I get the great pleasure of directing our early learning team in the Department of Ed. That is where you find public pre-K based. So I know that many of you who have public pre-K programs already have worked with members of our team in the past. So a few of the folks that you will interact with as we're collaborating with Sandy's group in this process include Nicole Medore, who's our early childhood specialist, and she manages a lot of the pieces of public pre-K for us. Marcy Whitcomb is often found out in the field, visiting schools and supporting classrooms. She's our public pre-K consultant. Next, I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen. I'm actually going to go a little bit in reverse order today. Michelle Belanger, right below Marcy on your screen, is our pre-K partnership specialist. And Michelle does a lot of work at helping to school systems build relationships with their community-based providers that you're going to hear a lot more about as you're working through this process. So she's a terrific resource for that support. And some of those partners that are really important to your work include our Head Start sites across the state. And so in the center bottom square is Stacy McCoy, and she's our Head Start collaboration director. She works hand in hand with the various grantees, Head Start grantees across our state. So she's a great resource to us. And then finally, Sue Gallant is our early childhood school community specialist. So she brings a strong background in also building those partnerships between schools and community partners. She's actually transitioning from working specifically with First 10 community schools, but prior to that role, she was one of our public pre-K consultants supporting our pre-K expansion grant. So she brings a wide variety of background, and everyone on this team is always willing to jump in and help you out.
Thank you, Leanne. And next we have our data team, and I would like to introduce Kathy Warren. She's our education data systems manager, and she's going to introduce her team and talk a little bit about how the data team is involved with this transition.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here and joining us. We have 90 schools, and this next upcoming cohort is really exciting. So I'm Kathy Warren. I'm the Director of Education Data for the department. And our department does all of the data collection and reporting straight through from federal and state reporting and all of the workings of our data systems that keep track of what's going on in these programs. So the folks from the data team that will be supporting this effort are Kimberly Hall, who's our Education Data Systems Manager. Kim and I both come from district backgrounds. We're both former business managers in small school districts where our business office actually was a place that kids were, and we really had a really strong integration with lots of different programs in the buildings. So one of the things that we are able to do is connect dots for you. So Kim is overseeing the data collection of like our child counts and the numbers that we will be passing on to the fiscal team for the funding that's associated with this. So she comes from a background where she knows how important a lot of those things are. Kim, I think you're here with us today if you want to wave and say hi to folks. She will be a point of contact, not only if you're in that role, but we can connect the dots between your data specialists, your superintendents, your business managers. If folks don't understand, some of what they need to do with reporting, Kim works very closely with Jen Hopkins. And so they will be supporting you in that way. Allie Cookson is our education data quality trainer, and we have a lot of different trainings that we participate in. Allie coordinates with Susie and with other members of the early learning and early childhood special ed teams to help talk about what data needs to go where and how you do it and what system it goes in. And Allie also work really closely with our Medams help desk, who are the people at the end of the phone. So between a lot of teamwork amongst us and the other teams, we can do all things data and reporting that you might need support on.
Great. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
The next team that we work very closely with is our fiscal team. And as you can imagine, we've had to kind of recreate how this fiscally works, moving from CDS to the public schools. And I don't know if Nicole Dennis is on here today, but I want to recognize her as an important member of the team. And I would like to introduce Paula Gravel, our school finance coordinator. Many of you already know her, and I won't steal her tagline. I will let her share with you that. But Paula, would you like to jump on and introduce yourself and your team?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the Director of Public School Funding here at the department and working very closely with everybody who has been mentioned here and all of the school administrative units, both those that have already started their cohort process and those that are getting ready to, especially when it relates to funding, which is obviously very dear to all of our hearts. You can't do anything without money. I will say that our team, working with everybody else and with you, partners, we do. My tagline is we do try to keep the fun in funding, which is a hard thing to do with all the spreadsheets and whatnot. But this particular project is very different from the usual funding that goes out from the state. Remember, this is all state funded. It's very different in that it does not have a local share. And so one of the major things that I need to ensure that we are very careful about within the partnership is to ensure that everything is separate from what you normally have that for those students that are not pre-K with IEPs. So we'll get into that more later. I will introduce Ida Batista, who is also extremely important on this team. She has a plethora of knowledge when it comes to special ed funding and how that all works. And we are working very closely with the other section of the finance team. And I will turn back to Sandy for that introduction.
Thank you, Paula. So yes, and many of you also know Barb McGowan. She is our Director of Fiscal Management for the OSSE team. That's the Office of Special Services and Inclusive Education. And I'd like to turn it over to Barb to share a little bit about her role and her team that will be supporting you through this process. And many of you have already met this team as well through the process.
Thank you, Sandy. Hello, everyone. So happy to see you all here. As Sandy said, I'm Barbara McGowan, Director of Financial Management. I work with the Aussie team. My role primarily with the Early Childhood Special Education Funds is after allocation happens. So my team monitors your allocation performance to make sure that you are achieving that 100% state funded and that we stay within the bounds of reasonable and necessary expenditures within the program. And that is a great segue to introduce you to Sarah McLaughlin, who is the financial lead on my team for the Early Childhood Special Education Funds. You probably have heard from Sarah. Sarah is doing all of the back end work. We collect all of your expenditures. We look at all of your revenue, and we are monitoring you on a quarterly basis to make sure, again, that your allocation is performing as expected at 100% of your early childhood special education costs. Sandy, Sarah, if you want to just wave at everybody so they can see you. Back to you, Sandy. Oh, and by the way, that picture is at least 10 years old. That's just...
We'll get a new one, Barb.
That one in a long time.
So next, we wanted to share with you the list of cohort schools visualized on a map. And we already know that this map needs to be updated because even though we had our final commitment date, I think it was last Monday, we have had other SAUs join. They had either an extension or they had some final meetings that they needed to have before they could make the final commitment. So I already need to update this map, but we've also provided you the full list of cohorts 1 through 4. So when you get a copy of this slide deck, which you'll get in an email, this will be a live link. So this will take you to the document, and then you're going to have to zoom in because, as you can see, this is all the SAUs in the state of Maine. And it's listed, the way that it is sorted is by the CDS site, which is also in alignment with the superintendent regions, which I know Dan will speak to during our 3 o'clock presentation as well. So if you're kind of wondering why it is sorted the way it is, that is why. But we wanted you all to have that, and we're trying to keep it updated with a date at the top of when we are updating it because it has been changing daily. And we're hoping to have that final list. We should have that within the next week. So one little piece that I wanted to mention during this session, and I know Dan will speak a little bit about it, but I wanted to, while I had all of cohort 3 and also cohort 4, one of the pieces of this transition is a memorandum of understanding. So it's an MOU that we are required to develop between the school district, the Maine Department of Education, and Child Development Services. And our goal is to have all of those MOUs developed and signed prior to August 1st this year. Part of that MOU is we'll talk about, we'll detail out any services that you are accessing from your local CDS support and service hub. So one of the things that we are sending out tomorrow through our follow-up email after this meeting is just a little survey that will ask you a few questions about your interest in collaborating with your local CDS support and service hub next year. Many of you may not know that right now because you're just in the initial stages. You're putting together your staffing plans. You're going to be posting for positions. But we're trying to get a little bit of an understanding if you are thinking about potentially accessing CDS for some of these services. We just want to be preparing for that on our side as well. And we know that that will change that there will be some school districts that say yes, and then they don't, and this vice versa. But this is just an initial just look at to see what the need is from our 90 cohort 3 school districts. Also part of the MOU is participation in the professional development that we're providing, and we'll talk about that at our 3:00 meeting. And we do have some federal data requirements. Once again, that's part of our professional development. And then if you are a school district that is assuming responsibility for 4-year-olds only, there is also a responsibility for you to get to know your 3-year-olds over the next year, and that is spelled out in the MOU. And just this slide gives you the procedures. Once that MOU is finalized, it gets sent to you for signature. It then gets sent to Aaron Frazier as our state director for signature. You then get a copy of that back. And once again, we are required to meet with SAUs monthly to review that MOU. If it does change, then we will send you an updated copy of any changes. And once again, I stated that we're going to send you a little survey just to garner any interest that you might have or learning more about it, that what we offer through the Support and Service Hub. And just general, we are sending out the list of your early childhood special education coordinators and how to contact them. But you also know that you can contact myself or Jennifer Hopkins as your main contact. And then we will funnel that. If we can't answer it, we will funnel it to the correct people that will help support you. And I put this slide on here thinking we would have plenty of time for questions and answers. And I look at the time and it is 2:59. And I know that we all have to switch to a 3:00 meeting, which is on a different Zoom link. And so if you have questions, if I would just ask that you save them for the 3:00 meeting, and you can throw them in the chat, you can email us, or and we're hoping to have time for Q&A at that meeting as well. So I know everyone will want to jump off this meeting and get on the other link. So I want to give everyone time to do that. I think, let's see, I'll stop sharing, see everybody's face again, and it's 3:00. I will see everyone over on the other link. Thank you so much for coming.